Ilia Topuria just crossed a line, and the entire UFC felt it. Because this wasn't trash talk, this wasn't hype, this wasn't a promotion, and this was personal. After UFC 323, when Petr Yan shocked the world by dismantling Merab Dvalishvili, most people were still trying to process what they'd just seen. Fans were arguing about scorecards, debating trilogies, praising Yan's comeback, and wondering what this meant for the bantamweight division moving forward. But then Petr Yan opened his mouth. And suddenly, the story changed, because what started as post-fight confidence quickly turned into something much bigger, something darker, something that pulled in Ilia Topuria, Dana White, and a warning that echoed across the MMA world. Watch your words. That's not something fighters say lightly, and when it came from Ilia Topuria, it meant something. So today, we're breaking down everything that happened after UFC 323, what Petr Yan said about Merab, why Ilia Topuria took it personally, how Dana White responded to the growing tension, and why this moment could reshape multiple divisions at once. Trust me, this goes way deeper than one post-fight interview. Let's talk about it. Now first, we have to start with what happened inside the cage, because none of this exists without that performance. Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili at UFC 323 was supposed to be simple, at least on paper. Merab was the machine. Endless cardio, relentless takedowns, a man who breaks you over 5 rounds whether you like it or not. He came in riding one of the most insane win streaks the bantamweight division has ever seen. He had already beaten Yan once, and not just beaten him, but dominated him. That first fight wasn't competitive, it was one-sided. Merab ran through him, drowned him in pressure, and walked away with his hand raised while the narrative around Yan started to shift. People began saying he was past his prime, that the division had evolved, that his time was over. And then UFC 323 happened. From the opening round, it was clear this was not the same fight. Yan wasn't backing up. He wasn't getting overwhelmed. He was reading Merab in real time, stuffing takedowns, making Merab work for everything, and not just surviving the wrestling, but punishing him for trying. By the end of 5 rounds, the stats told a story nobody expected. Yan defended 27 of 29 takedown attempts, 93% takedown defense against the most relentless wrestler in the division. He matched Merab's cardio, he outstruck him, he even took him down himself. This wasn't a lucky night. This wasn't a fluke. This was a technical dismantling. When the decision was read, the MMA world froze for a second, because suddenly, everything we thought we knew about bantamweight had changed. Yan had reclaimed his spot at the top, Merab's aura cracked, and the division was wide open again. Dana White praised both fighters. Media outlets called it seismic. Fighters started weighing in. And for a brief moment, it felt like the story would stay focused on the performance. But then came the interviews. In his English language interviews, Petr Yan was calm, confident, but measured. When asked about a trilogy with Merab, he didn't fully shut it down, but he didn't embrace it either. He suggested Merab should take time, think things through, maybe enjoy the moment, maybe even hit the jacuzzi and relax. That alone caused debate. Fans immediately split into 2 camps. One side said the trilogy was mandatory, 1 and 1. 2 dominant performances in opposite directions. The rivalry was too big to leave unfinished. The other side said Merab didn't automatically deserve a rematch, that Yan had to work his way back through 3 fights, that Merab should do the same. And honestly, that debate is fair. But then Petr Yan sat down with a Russian outlet, and everything escalated. This time, the tone was completely different. Yan didn't just say he won, he said he broke Merab. He talked about the damage he inflicted. He claimed no one had ever hurt Merab like that before. He said Merab was broken, sitting in a jacuzzi with his friends, recovering from what Yan had done to him. Those words spread like wildfire, because in MMA, there's a difference between confidence and disrespect. And for a lot of people, Yan crossed that line, especially for one man, Ilia Topuria. Now, to understand why Ilia reacted the way he did, you have to understand the relationship here. Ilia Topuria and Merab Dvalishvili are close. Not just teammates, not just countrymen, family. That's how Ilia describes it. And Ilia is not someone who takes disrespect lightly, especially when it's aimed at someone he considers his own. During a live Instagram session, Ilia addressed the situation directly, calm but firm, emotional but controlled. He defended Merab. He acknowledged the ups and downs of the sport, But then he turned his attention to Petr Yan, and that's when he said it. Watch your words. Those 3 words carried more weight than any insult, because Ilia wasn't joking. He wasn't selling a fight. He wasn't trying to go viral. He was drawing a line, and he told Yan to show respect. He made it clear that Merab is family, and while he said he didn't want problems, the message underneath was unmistakable. Words have consequences. Now suddenly, this wasn't just a bantamweight story anymore, because Ilia Topuria is not just some random voice online. He's one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport, a champion, a finisher, a man with his own history of tension with Petr Yan. At one point, there were even discussions about a potential Yan versus Topuria matchup, back when Ilia was still at featherweight and Yan was at the top of bantamweight. 2 elite strikers, 2 killers, 2 very different mentalities. That fight never happened. But now with these comments, the tension feels real again, and fans noticed. Clips spread, tweets exploded. Suddenly, people weren't just talking about a trilogy. They were talking about respect, about lines crossed, about whether Petr Yan had gone too far. And while all of this was unfolding, Dana White had his own fires to put out. At the UFC 323 post-fight press conference, Dana was asked about multiple situations, not just Yan and Merab, but also Tom Aspinall, Arman Tsarukyan, and the growing frustration around title shots and injuries. Regarding Aspinall, Dana clarified comments that had been misinterpreted. Aspinall had claimed Dana downplayed the severity of his eye injury. Dana pushed back, saying he was simply passing along information from people monitoring the situation and that there was no disrespect intended. He confirmed that the UFC is closely watching Aspinall's recovery, that he hasn't returned to training yet, and that they will make sure he's fully cleared before fighting again. The rematch with Cyril Gane is still planned, but not until 2026. Henry Cejudo even chimed in, warning Aspinall to be careful publicly criticizing Dana, reminding everyone that Dana is still the boss and fight bookings ultimately go through him. Then came Arman Tsarukyan. Despite Arman's brutal destruction of Dan Hooker, Dana made it clear that Arman is not next in line for a title shot. He said Arman had his opportunity. It didn't go the way it needed to, and now he has to work his way back. That comment upset a lot of fans, especially given how impressive Arman looked. But Dana stood firm. Saying too much goes into title opportunities to just hand them out based on one performance. And all of this matters because it shows the broader theme here. The UFC is in a moment where respect, opportunity, and timing are colliding. Back to Petr Yan. Yan's win over Merab wasn't just a comeback, it was historic. He became one of only 3 bantamweights in UFC history to lose a title and reclaim it, joining Dominic Cruz and TJ Dillashaw. His record moved to 20 wins and 5 losses. Media outlets praised the performance as one of the best comebacks the division has ever seen. Even Merab, in defeat, showed humility. He admitted he tried to make the fight entertaining by standing and trading, and that Yan was better that night. Former champions like Robert Whittaker praised Yan's performance, calling it the most complete version of Yan we've ever seen, saying he had answers for every position, that his skill level looked far above the rest of the division. But here's the thing, legacy is built on wins. Reputation is built on words, and sometimes words can undo goodwill faster than a loss ever could. Petr Yan didn't need to say he broke Merab. The performance spoke for itself, but by saying it, he invited attention, he invited emotion, he invited fighters like Ilia Topuria into the conversation. Now the bantamweight division is at a crossroads. Does the UFC book the trilogy? Probably. The story is too big. The series is tied. Fans want closure, but now there's an added layer, because respect matters. And tensions like this don't disappear, they simmer. And Ilia Topuria's warning wasn't just about Merab, it was about the culture of the sport, about how fighters talk about each other, about understanding that behind every rivalry, there are relationships that run deeper than the cage. So where does this go? Yan has the belt. Merab has a loss but still has a case. The trilogy looms. Umar Nurmagomedov is waiting. Ilia Topuria is watching. Dana White is navigating injuries, contenders, and egos. And the fans were eating good. Because moments like this are why MMA is different, why it feels real, why emotions spill over, why words matter as much as punches sometimes. So now I want to hear from you. Did Petr Yan cross the line with his comments about Merab, or was he just speaking his truth after one of the biggest wins of his career? Was Ilia Topuria right to step in and defend his brother? Or should fighters keep things strictly between the two men who fought? And most importantly, do you want the trilogy? And drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know where you stand. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe to AU Beyond MMA, and I'll catch you in the next one. Because in this sport, the fight doesn't end when the bell rings.